Do we have quorum?
Yes, we should have quorum. Lars is here,
Recording
JP
in
is
progress.
here. You and Wayne are here, so we have 4.
We're live.
Whenever it's 5:30, Nick, I guess you just gotta wait.
Looks like Caesar's here as well.
PowerPoint's working well? No issues like last time?
PowerPoint is working, thank you.
Okay, I didn't mean to throw anyone on the bus, just
How are y'all doing?
making sure.
You got it? Thank you so much. Appreciate it, babe.
I'm just curious, will Allison be attending this meeting?
Okay, we're ready to go. Lars, what is whistle? So I think we're ready. It is 5:30. I will call to order the regular scheduled meeting for the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Harlingen. Will you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty
For all.
Okay, well, definitely look forward to doing that in a room with a flag very soon. Next meeting, I think, correct?
Yes, it'll be in September. Oh, actually September, not August. In September is when we'll have it in person.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. We do have minutes from our regular meeting on July 14, 2021. Does anybody have any revisions or changes, or do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
I got a motion by Lars, a second.
I'll second.
Second by Lowry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. I'm sorry, I skipped over citizen communication. I think we have two citizens that would like to speak. I'd like to remind my fellow commissioners that in citizen communication, we are not allowed to reply, feedback, comment, or anything during citizen communication. So do you want to go ahead and call the first person?
Sure.
Up?
Yes, and typically, you would allow 2 minutes. So if you want to change that amount of time, just let us know. But the first person that we're going to call is Earl Wellington.
Okay, thank you, Albert.
Yep.
Is this the microphone?
This microphone right there, yeah.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Earl Wellington. I live at 142 South Nueces Park Lane, Harlingen, Texas, 78552, which is located 2 lots to the west of the Sepulvedas. There's a vacant lot in between us. Good afternoon. First, I want to express my thanks to Mr. Olivo, Mr. Cervantes, and Ms. Armando Elizondo, the city secretary, for their patience and helpfulness in explaining this situation to me. Next, I want to thank Ms. Allison Bastian Rodriguez for her overall help and for her opinion regarding supermajority. From the little I've read, I think she is correct. Third, I want to thank the Planning and Zoning Commission for the attention they have given to this. Mr. J.V. Garcia and Mr. Lowry both had serious concerns about the flooding. Mr. Cervantes says these were presented to the city commission in his PowerPoint. I wasn't able to see it because of the crowding situation in the room and the fact that they didn't have audio or visual that was functioning where we were standing. Mr. Cervantes has told me that the special use permit as passed by the city commission will be effective after the second reading scheduled for August 4th, and that it will not require an engineering review by planning and zoning or any other city group. A building permit can be issued as soon as the approval takes place at August 4th. J.V. Garcia has expressed serious reservations. J.V. Garcia expressed serious reservations and wanted a provision that the storage building would be held to drainage standards at least as stringent as those for a house. Keep in mind that we're talking about a 2,000 square foot structure, which is as large as houses, some houses. That will not be required per the SUP as told to me by Mr. Cervantes.
5 more seconds, Mr. Wellington.
What?
Just 1 moment more.
No, can I have an extra minute, please?
Yes, Mr. Wellington, please.
As we all know, and as acknowledged by Eric Sepulveda, this is an area subject to flooding. There is no city sewer system, no street curbs, gutters. We are on septic tanks. As Mr. Garcia expressed, there will be serious consequences if others build similar structures. Flooding causes damage to dwellings and causes mosquito infestations with intended disease such as West Nile, Zika, dengue, and others. It also causes occasional car accidents and electrocutions. Mr. Lowry tried to assure the rest of you that engineering would make sure that the drainage is okay, but it looks like that's not going to happen. So where do we go from here? Can the Sepulvedas be required to reapply for an SUP so that the correct verbiage can be used? Can the city commission date for the second reading be changed later than August 4th? City Commissioner Rene Perez is not representing his Nueces Park constituency, who constitute a significant number of votes. In fact, more votes than he won by over the incumbent. It makes me wonder about Mr. Perez, because he's supposed to be a high school history teacher who's done some graduate school, and he should know better. Makes me wonder. The mayor should know better. Makes me wonder. I know nothing about the other members of the city commission except what I read in the Valley Morning Star. Mr. Pena will present details about the structural material. It will be an eyesore, the visibility, and other concerns. Thank you so much for your allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Wellington. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Wellington.
Thank you.
The next person we have is Raul Pena.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Pena, please state your name and address for the record, and to be consistent, if we need 3 minutes, please take the 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Raul Pena III, and I own 145 South Nueces Park Lane. That's directly in front, or almost in front of the property where this proposed metal storage building is going to go, and a little bit toward the west. So we will be facing it. And I wanted to ask you if our petition, we had a petition, if that was taken into consideration, because we did have over 29 neighbors opposing that. And I don't know if you received a map that shows that 13 out of the 14 properties within 200 feet, 13 out of the 14 properties were opposed to that, to this SUP. And we had several others outside the 200 feet that were also opposed to that. I talked to Mr. Sepulveda after the meeting, and he's not really aware of how high his structure is going to be. It's almost the height of an overpass. The overpass on Stewart Place and Expressway is 16 feet, 11 inches. His building is at the wall 16 feet. So his is going to be almost as high as an overpass, which also concerns our neighbors regarding the flooding and drainage, and that is a big concern. Another concern is that it completely violates all our Nueces Park restrictions, deed restrictions, and I am aware that the city does not really enforce much of the deed restrictions. They only follow certain guidelines, but this has been in effect for us for almost 25 years. And we just want to make sure that we keep our residential neighborhood and R1 subdivision as it was designated to be. Thank you for your time, and just thank you, and just please reconsider our neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. Pena. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
We did have another email for citizen communication. This is from Sharon Mashner. I'm gonna read her comments now. Don't know why this has even gone this far. The neighborhood has clearly indicated they don't want this permanent giant structure here, yet it keeps getting passed. Whatever happened with neighbors caring about how their actions impacted others? A neighbor may not be your closest friend, but a good neighbor looks out for others and should be there in times of need. Like all of us, I'm sure the Sepulvedas were aware of the restrictions when they purchased their home. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just looking out for those around us. I respectfully request a denial of this permits. And that is the end of the comment. I think we also have folks here. Oh, but they didn't fill the form, but they're here in person, is it gone?
No.
Okay. That is all for the citizen communication.
Thank you, Albert. Thank you.
Thank
Item two on our agenda is the consent agenda. Item A on the consent agenda, consider and take action to approve the final plat of the proposed Dominion Estate subdivision bearing a legal description of 5.36 acres of land out of blocks 52 Adams Garden subdivision B, located on the west side of South Tam Lane, south of Levin's Way. B, consider and take action to approve the preliminary construction plans and final plot with conditions of the proposed Gardner Estate subdivision being a 13.76 acre tract of land, more or less being 4.72 acres out of block 14, 4.79 acres out of block 15, and 4.25 acres out of block 16 Stewart, located on the east side of Palm Boulevard, north of Garrett Road. C, consider and take action to approve the preliminary construction plans and final plot with conditions of the proposed Sundown subdivision being a 6.9 acres out of block 12, Minner subdivision located on the west side of FM 507, north of Bartola Road. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda? Or is anybody like to move one of these items?
Yes, Chairman, JV Garcia here.
Yes,
I
sir.
would like to move to remove all consent agenda items A, B, and C. I have a discussion on each one of these.
Okay, is any opposed?
We need a second.
No, sorry, Nick, you don't need a second or a statement. You're just pulling from the consent agenda, so it's
Okay,
pulled.
let's
Yeah.
go down the line. Item A, Mr. Commissioner Garcia.
Yeah, so I just kind of want to go over a little bit of the history on this, because after reading the summary sheet, it looks like the last time the planning and zoning took this up was back in 2019, over 2 years ago. So I had a question with the preliminary plat and the final plat not being consistent with the dimensions of the lots, the sizes of the lots, the northings and eastings. That was my one comment that I wanted to make. I'm not sure if staff saw that.
That can be a quick correction. You're saying the numbers on the preliminary plat don't match the numbers, the northings and the eastings on the final plat between these two sheets. That's what you're saying?
Correct.
For the
Between
Dominion Estate subdivision. Sure.
Correct.
Yeah, we can make that change to the Mylars. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, and then this is outside of a drainage district number 5 jurisdiction. There is a drainage statement by the owner indemnifying the Harlingen Irrigation District, essentially saying that Harlingen Irrigation District number 1 will not be responsible for any drainage of the land or any cost in connection with any drainage needed now or at any time in the future. So I have a question for staff. Who will be responsible for the drainage for this subdivision?
For this one, I guess we have to defer to the engineering departments. This one, it faces existing streets for this first phase, just to be clear. The second phase is the one with an actual improved cul-de-sac.
Right, but we're going to be building houses similar to, the previous, some of the public commenters were mentioning that, 2,000 square foot homes are going to be substantially impacting the drainage system in the area. So that's the question that I had. I want to bring that up to the board.
We have Kimberly from the engineering department that may be able to answer that question.
Hi, good afternoon, Chairman.
Hello.
Good afternoon, City Commission. I'm Kimberly from the engineering department. I'm the assistant city engineer. Again, just to make sure, is your question of who's going to handle the drainage on that?
Who will be responsible in an event of a flood? a flood event.
I believe that's the county. I can double check and get back with you just because that's in the 3.5 mile ETJ. It's not within. city.
Right, right. It's in a 3.5 mile ETJ, but I also know that engineering reviewed maybe some drainage study or drainage plans or something and approved it. So I kind of wanted to see at what point is the city of Harlingen responsible for this. At the same time, so a lot, there's some information here, commissioners, that I just didn't have a full story of everything. And I want to understand, and I want to be able to make an informed decision here. So because this was approved back in 2019, I'm assuming that the old requirements of a 5-year storm event was the maximum that this was developed for?
So
Or are they gonna submit additional drainage plans to make sure that we meet the updated drainage ordinance of the 25-year detention and the 10-year storm pipe design?
So I reviewed the documents that were submitted and that were approved for this specific subdivision. And although it was per the old ordinance, which was a 5-year storm event, they did mitigate to a 25-year storm event. But there's no on-site mitigation because the engineer of record stated that the system was capable of handling the 25-year storm event. They said that there was a extra inlet, I believe it was further south.
Right. And is that on the plat somewhere where there's a statement stating that that's adequate?
I'm not too sure. I would have to review that plat. But as per the drainage report, that's what it stated.
Right. I just haven't seen this, commission, and this is where I'm trying to.
I have a quick, JV, if you, may I speak? When you say who's responsible for flood, are you asking who's responsible for the drainage?
Yes, who's
Just to
responsible for the
clarify.
who's responsible for the drainage and maintaining the drainage when the subdivision is going to be built? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm asking.
Okay. Okay. Good question.
For example, moving forward on the next, on part B, there's a statement like you see right here. If you zoom in, there's all these people that are signing off, and Tim Skoglund is basically saying there's going to be 30-year water service. You know, Harlingen Waterworks is responsible for that water service, right? For sewer, there's going to be septic. The county health department is ensuring that they're gonna enforce strict standards for septic tanks, and you're gonna have a sanitary sewer. Drainage, all I see here is I'm not responsible. So I want to know at what point do we have on this plat, because on the next one that we're going to talk about, and you'll see the difference, there's actually a statement that says City of Harlingen is responsible for drainage and maintaining. So that's a good, that's the right direction, right? Taking accountability and responsibility for drainage infrastructure, and that's where I'm heading on this one.
I guess the missing signature on the title block there is the county engineer. After it goes through Planning and Zoning Commission, we then give it to the county engineer and they also sign off on the plat. So it's probably going to be with them that approves it. But we can start putting in our reports in the absence of who's responsible. We can add, mention it.
Does it fall under Harlingen city limits?
It falls outside Harlingen city limits, but it's in our 3.5 mile ETJ, so it's in our jurisdiction. So it goes through City of Harlingen engineering and planning, but it also goes through the county, where we basically hand it over to them.
So in a case,
would not be responsible for drainage. So the city, yeah, because it's outside the city, so we would not be responsible for the drainage for this particular.
So if we're not responsible for the drain, I just want to clear this up because this is going to happen. Everyone, moving forward on every single plat. To clear that up, if we're not responsible for the drainage, should we be reviewing the drainage calculations and plans, and should we make it clear on the plat that the City of Harlingen is also not responsible for the drainage? Similar to the way the irrigation district and the drainage district state on there, we are not responsible whatsoever for the adequacy of this, of any flood event. Would that be something to make sure that the county takes responsibility? And the reason why is because what I'm seeing on all of these plats and developments is that it's very hard to pinpoint who was responsible for the drainage infrastructure and for the maintenance of the drainage infrastructure. Does that make sense?
Do we have anybody from legal? Javier?
Right here.
Oh, that, Chairman Garcia asked a question about adding a statement to the particular plat stating that the city of Harlingen will not be responsible for drainage. Is that something that we can do as part of the subdivision review process for subdivisions outside the city limits?
That's something that we would have to look at. I can definitely look at the issue and then get back to you about it.
Okay.
And real quick, just to be specific, what was the question?
So if we're claiming that we are not responsible for drainage and it's going to be the Cameron County Engineering Department, can we make that clear on the plat that the city of Harlingen is not responsible for the drainage infrastructure or its maintenance from here on out?
Okay, then I will definitely research the issue and we'll get back to you.
And this particular plat is outside the city of Harlingen's city limits.
So it would apply in this situation, yes, sir.
Okay, that's consent agenda A. Now that it's been pulled out separately, do we need to approve these one by one? Casey?
Yes, you can go by them one by one now.
I make a motion that we table this item until we get clarification from legal on the correct signature block for the city of Harlingen drainage statement.
I have a motion to table item A on the consent agenda. Is there a second? It doesn't sound like there's a second. Is there another motion?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve consent agenda item A. Is there a second?
There's a second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, I want to add, I don't disagree with JV's recommendation. If legal comes back and says that it'd be good to have that for the future, but I don't think it's enough of a hang up for us to not move forward with approving this plat.
Okay. We have a motion, a second.
Agreement.
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Passes, I think by 3-1. Is that correct, Albert?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, basic math. Okay, consent agenda B and C. Are you going to pull out B too, Chairman Garcia?
Yes, I was pulling all three out. I just want to
Okay.
make some quick comments on them.
Please.
Bear with me, guys, on this. Sorry about that.
Just hope you're not driving.
No. I'm parked. I just got out of another board meeting and I'm in a parking lot, so
Very good.
sorry about that.
Okay.
So I just want to make a quick point on this one. Excuse me?
No, proceed, please.
Yeah, so on B, so per section 109-87-8.1.a, a preliminary plat of the proposed subdivision, and I'm quoting here the ordinance or the previous ordinance from 2019, that a preliminary plat of the proposed subdivision is the most significant phase in the planning process, which shall be approved through PNZ. The second phase is the preparation and approval of the final plat. Now, I didn't see the preliminary plat on here.
To clarify, are we talking about Garner Estate subdivision?
Yes, I think that's section B. Is that
Sure. Yeah, for Garner Estate subdivision, that goes with the ordinance from 2020. And
Right.
the preliminary plats, instead of doing that, we actually do the preliminary paving and drainage plan and the preliminary utility plan in lieu of the preliminary plat.
Okay. I just want to let everybody know that this was one one thing that all engineers were in agreement with during the debate for the drainage ordinance, because this poses a problem because it is in my opinion, direct conflict with the Texas Administrative Code, which requires that we do a preliminary plat. And there's a lot of information on preliminary plats. We just went from it being the most significant phase in the planning process to, nah, we don't need it. So I just want to raise that point because I believe that a preliminary plat is extremely important. It's required in every other city, every other county, except for Harlingen, as far as I'm concerned.
I guess to clarify, these two documents, you can treat them as preliminary plat sheet 1 showing paving and drainage, preliminary plat sheet 2 showing utility plan. So really the preliminary plat is here. It's just split into 2 separate sheets. And that's for readability because Harlingen Waterworks usually only looks at the utility plan and then the engineering department looks at the paving and drainage plan. So it is still here. It's just 2 sheets.
All right. And then on this one, I'd like to have a conversation or maybe some kind of a workshop to discuss that and hash that out with staff on a separate meeting. But on this one is the one where I mentioned where they're saying that plat note number 11, if you zoom into that, you'll see that lots D1, D2, D3 are designated detention ponds. They're not buildable, and it requires the city of Harlingen to maintain responsibility for its functionality. And so that right there, legal, also, are we signing off on that? Is that true is my question. Is that true that we are going to sign off and maintain responsibility of these drainage ponds?
It goes by subdivision. Some subdivisions, they leave the maintenance to the homeowners association if there is one created. Other ones, they do talk with the engineering department and they do hand over the drainage lot to for the engineering department and public works to basically maintain. We have Kimberly to clarify a little bit more if you need to.
Well, my question is, yes.
For this specific one, yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
go ahead, Kimberly.
that is correct, Albert. We do see it on a case-by-case basis. For this specific subdivision, we did recommend that they dedicate where the detention ponds are going to be. We asked them to dedicate it as a right-of-way, so it could be more of a borrowed ditch. But we have not heard back from the engineer.
Okay, so I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with the question we had on the previous one for the attorney. I guess that's a yes. We can require and maintain responsibility if we choose to as a city to be responsible for the drainage in new subdivisions and its maintenance. We can put a section on there because I believe there's a plat. If we zoom in, isn't there a plat block there somewhere? I mean, a block there that says we're responsible.
There should be a plat note saying that they're just drainage lots that the city will be responsible for taking care of it. And if you want in future reports, I can add a bullet point saying who is responsible for the drainage. We have bullet points for number of lots and for land use, so we'll just add an extra one for drainage.
Okay, I did have one question. Is the engineer, are the engineers available or maybe the city engineer can answer this question. At what point is the developer engineer gonna, I saw that they're gonna be regrading the borrow ditch right there along the road going north. Are they going all the way a quarter mile up to the outfall, which is the ditch, or are they just stopping at the outset of the project? Because that might be something city engineering might want to look into, making sure that we regrade that entire ditch all the way up that quarter mile up to that outfall.
So per the
right there, yes.
Paving and grading plan, they are stopping right at the property line, which they're only required to provide detention for the strategy for the 25-year storm event. So that may be something that we may want to look into.
Yes.
Grading straight through. That's a good point.
Can we zoom in? Yeah, just so the commission can understand this. Can we zoom into that, Albert?
It's
Google Earth?
actually just this one right here is just an image, and it's a PowerPoint presentation. So no, I don't think we can zoom in.
Well, you can kind of see right there, the outfall, commissioners, is going to be, you just see north, you can kind of see where the drainage ditch is. So water will not make it to that point, essentially. And that's where I'm saying we need to consider doing a little project to improve that drainage ditch to get the water from there to that north ditch there.
So in looking at it again, the detention ponds stop at the property line, but then they're proposing a roadside swale all the way up to Sun Chase Drive.
Sun Chase Drive, yes.
Yes, so it's further north. They're
It's a
going
little,
up Sun
yeah.
Chase Drive.
So a little bit further, but not the full length.
Mhm.
So they're helping. That seems like a pretty good compromise, in my opinion. Again,
Mhm.
but yeah, can we get engineering to look into that to make sure we can route that water all the way to the outfall?
Yes, sir, we can definitely look into it.
Thank you. That's the only comments I had on that one.
Okay, any other comments, discussion, questions for staff?
No, I want to jump in real quick. I like the idea, the concept of including that as a bullet point moving forward so that we can have that information handy. I think, one thing we know, JV is very passionate about drainage. And so we're going to be discussing this. So if we can have that information handy, I think it'll make it easier for each commissioner moving forward.
Yes, of course, we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Is there a motion on this item, consent item B?
I'll make a motion to pass
We have a motion for approval.
to approve. Yes.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Perez. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes unanimously 4-0. Next is C. Commissioner Garcia.
Yeah. Yes, Chairman Consiglio. So on this one, some of the same points that I was making earlier about the preliminary plat, identical to section B or letter B with Garner, that a preliminary plat is not required. We need to discuss that. I think that's a very big oversight that we're making. That was it. Also on this one, this is Drainage District number 5's jurisdiction. And there is a statement on there that states they are not responsible. So again, just a fundamental question gonna be moving forward. Is the city of Harlingen gonna maintain responsibility? Who do we hold accountable? And I would also like to mention that the two neighbors adjacent to the north lot, this is on FM 507. If we could pull up the Google Earth pic. The two neighbors just to the north of there had flooding issues, and they have constant flooding issues with heavy rain events. So I just want to bring that up, and again, just so we can make sure there's some responsibility or accountability on drainage. That's the only statement I have on this project.
Any other comments or discussion? Anything for staff? Do we have a motion on consent agenda item C?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Garcia, for all those important comments.
Thank you.
Item C, excuse me. Don't print things on front and back of paper. It gets confusing. Item 3, consider and take action to recommend to the City Commission a variance to exceed the maximum 25 lot requirement of a cul-de-sac for the proposed Palm Valley Heights subdivision. bearing a legal description of 10 acres of land, being the west 10 acres of the west, 20 acres of the northeast, 60 acres of the Gulf Coast and Santa Fe Survey number 140, located on the south side of Wilson Road, west of Stewart Place Road. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The proposed subdivision variance would increase the maximum number of lots in a cul-de-sac from 25 lots to 26 lots. Due to the minimum 50-foot lot frontage of the lots in the cul-de-sac bulb, 4 lots are being proposed. This requirement is fairly new, and previously the developed subdivisions that we've had would normally have 5 lots at the end of the cul-de-sac. The proposed subdivision has 330 foot width on Wilson Road and a length of 1,320 feet. The 980 foot length of the cul-de-sac road complies with the 1,000 foot maximum. The subdivision variance request was reviewed by the engineering department and the fire prevention bureau, and they recommend an approval. This is a view from Wilson Road facing east towards Stewart Place Road. Staff recommends approval of the subdivision request. I'm here to take any questions, and the applicant is also here.
Thank you, Albert. Any questions for staff? Okay. What is the?
Yeah, I just have a comment real quick. I noticed there, and maybe I believe Dustin is the applicant, Dustin Moore. I see a dedicated 185 Cameron County Drainage District right of way being dedicated at the rear of the bulb of the cul-de-sac.
Yes, that's correct. Did you have a question for the dedication?
Yes. Yeah, so the dedication, it's going to be dedicated by the drainage to the Drainage District 5. Again, same question, is Drainage District 5 going to assume responsibility? Because if you read the little block, it says that they will not assume responsibility of any drainage or, so I'm a little confused because it's kind of, they're going to take it over, but.
Yeah, it's a good question. In the future, we'll have the subdivision go before you, and we can address it by then. The scope of this agenda item is just for the variance to go from 25 lots to 26 lots. But we'll definitely add that notation of who is responsible for the drainage.
Staff, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You said that this is going to be the first time this comes up, that we allow 26 lots and a usual 25 lot subdivision. Are there in a subdivision at all?
Mm-hmm. What I meant is that the ordinance from 2020 essentially changed the requirement for the lots on the cul-de-sac bulb. Before the requirement was 50 feet for the 20-foot setback. So if you have the 20-foot setback, that frontage needed to be 50 feet. And we changed the rules to where, no, not the setback, the actual lot line needs to be 50 feet. So in the past, the standardized way to do it was just to have 5 lots. And now, obviously, they can only do 4.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, staff.
Any other comments or discussion or questions? The applicant is available. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion to approve. It looks like a second by Commissioner Pettis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same thing.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, please, Albert, please note that Commissioner Garcia is abstaining from this vote, and it looks like it passes by 3 votes. Thank you. That brings us to action item, or excuse me, item number 4 on the agenda. Mr. Olivo's report. Mr. Olivo.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner. Just a report on some of the items that got considered at the last B&Z Commission meeting. The special use permit for the storage building at 146 South Northeast Park Lane, that got approved by the City Commission on first ordinance reading. As mentioned, the final reading is scheduled for August the 4th. The second item, which is a request to rezone the property from multifamily to planned development for multifamily use. That item was denied by the city commission meeting, at the city commission meeting, excuse me. And the third item, which was a city initiative rezoning to rezone the properties along FM 508 and 507. That got approved on first ordinance reading. Final reading would be August 4th. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Mr. Olivo. Item 5 is the director's report. Mr. Cervantes, please.
Yes, commissioners, good evening. What's coming up in the future, public hearing regarding a request for the voluntary annexation and to establish initial zoning for a property on Dilworth Road, south of Barrett Road, that's coming up. Public hearing also to annex this property. It's a voluntary annexation. We have to also annex a portion of a county road. So we also have to have a public hearing for that. And then we also have an SUP for an adult business, a tattoo shop at 401 South 77. Also an SUP to allow a portable building for the school district at 1701 Dixieland Road, and an amendment to the thoroughfare plan for the extension of November Lane. So those are the items coming up before you in your next meeting. And also we will try to have the board training again. We couldn't do it this meeting because Allison is on vacation. So we will try again in your next meeting, your board training.
You know, regarding the board training, maybe that's something might be done better in person. So maybe we can take a pulse and see if maybe September when we're back in person, that might work better than over Zoom.
I think so too. So maybe we could postpone it to the first meeting of September.
Could we not, are we not allowed to go ahead and start meeting in person?
Yes, we could, but I think we already advertised.
Right.
For August 11th, we already did the advertisements, but for the second meeting of August, we could do it live.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Is that what you want to do?
yes.
Okay, so the second meeting of August, it will be live.
Okay.
So
Make
the-
sure
I
they-
guess y'all want to take a vote on that, or y'all good with
I don't
that?
think we can because there's not an agenda item for it.
No, I mean, is everybody good with it?
I'm
Okay.
very good with it.
I'm good with it too. I
Person's
just
good, and I
I'm
think,
just want to make sure everybody else is, so,
I think so, Mr. Commissioner Bettis. I agree.
okay.
All right, well then, I think regarding the executive session item for the training, I think we'll postpone it to the maybe the next in-person meeting.
Yeah, August 25th.
agenda as well.
Yes.
Okay, with that said, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
A motion second by Lars. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, have a beautiful evening. Thank you.
Lars,
Have a good
was
day.
Thank you.
Lars, was
Thank
that
you.
your first comment of the night? I didn't hear you talk except for to get out of here.
I'm a quiet guy. I'm a man of few words.